Mama Beth, and I'm in the kitchen again. And tonight I'm not going to be doing a whole bunch in the kitchen because my husband fell off a ladder, and I've got him upstairs and gave him some ibuprofen, and I had him on ice. Now I've got him on heat, and since he fell, he doesn't have to watch Housewives. He gets to watch the Redskins. So that'll be good for him. He'll enjoy that. I wanted to talk to you tonight about something that was brought to my attention by actually a couple of people asked me to speak on it. And then I had a Twitter conversation yesterday. I saw that Kanye he was out and about, and I said, oh, he's gained weight. And somebody said, oh, you're fat shaming. And I said, no, I'm not. He's gained weight. That's the truth. There's a difference between shaming somebody and telling them that they're a bad person, or making them feel guilty for it and saying, oh, he's gained some weight. Listen, he's gotten psychiatric treatment recently, and probably some of his meds have made him gain weight. That happens. You know what, though? When you start taking those medicines, you have to be really aware, and you start watching what you eat. You don't eat as much sugar, and you start working out a little bit more. That's what everybody has to do that's on these different kinds of medicines. And so I'm not fat shaming anybody. I'd never do that. Because let me tell you, I fought my weight. And we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about my weight loss journey and where it started and where it's at right now, and hopefully where it'll end. But I'd like you to hit subscribe right down below. Please hit subscribe and hit the bell. And if you want to get in touch with me, all of my information is in the description box. My Twitter, my Snapchat, everything is Mama Beth's World. So you can find me, even my email. So it's all down there. But let's talk about weight. Let's talk about being fat. I'd like to own that word fat. I was fat. I'm still a little fat. And hopefully I'll be average size. Fat and thin are not bad words. They're descriptive words. You can either own it or not. I was fat. You could call me obese. You could call me overweight, heavy, chunky, whatever. There's no difference. It's not, all of these are not, they don't have to be derogatory terms unless you let them be. And I love the campaigns with Natural Women right now, where they show women of all sizes and that they're all beautiful, because we are. And even when I was at my heaviest, I was still pretty. I don't care what anybody says. I was still pretty. But listen, when I was about 9 years old, my aunt came over and I was eating a cookie. And she told my mom, she said, oh, you better watch her. She's going to get fat. Now, this was before Karen Carpenter. Karen Carpenter's the lead singer of the band The Carpenters, if you don't know. And she died from anorexia. This was before she died. So, a lot wasn't known about eating disorders. Everybody that went to the same country club that we did, all the women competed to see who could be the thinnest, the best dressed, have the best hair, most money, whatever. But the kids had to measure up too. See, I was lucky. I was always real smart, and my parents didn't have to worry about me on that end. But my mom's biggest fear was that I would be the fat kid. The chubby kid, the chubby girl who got made fun of. And she always watched her weight really, really carefully. And she would get down real thin. She gained weight later on. She's chunky now. But I'm not going to tell her to her face. She knows she's gained weight. She got Graves' disease and lost a bunch of weight, and then had radioactive iodine treatment. And now she's gained it. But when your thyroid's messed up, you gain weight. And, you know, so she was worried. My mom was actually trying to protect me, I think, by hiding all the snacks and the cakes and cookies and all of that. She was trying to protect me. And, you know, she went about it the wrong way, but I'm not going to hold it against her forever. But, you know, when I was about, I guess maybe 11 or 12, we started on diets. Crazy diets, like the cantaloupe and rice diet. That was one. We did that for like a month. She's a retired nurse. Now, she should have known better with nutrition and all of that, that was not healthy for me to do. It would have been better for me to be fat than, you know, to be eating like that. There was the cabbage soup diet, where you ate this low-cal soup made with cabbage and onions and tomatoes and all this stuff, and that was what I got so sick of that crap. Rice cakes. I couldn't eat a rice cake if you paid me now. But all of these things were were because she was wanting to make sure she was thin. She was insecure about her weight, and then she foisted that on me, and she made me feel like I was not good enough, that nobody would love me. In fact, she told me more than once, because I had a great aunt, God rest her soul. She never got married, and I loved her. She was my favorite. She was my favorite aunt. It's my dad's aunt, my great aunt. And my mom would say to me, you're going to get fat and nobody is going to ever want to marry you. Nobody's ever going to love you, and we're going to be stuck with you just like your aunt. And I would cry. And I mean, because that would just break my heart, because I loved my aunt, and the idea that she was unlovable because of something like weight. I mean, she was a heavy woman, but she didn't get married for other reasons, but didn't have anything to do with her being unlovable, because let me tell you, I love the hell out of that woman. She was great to me. But this is how eating disorders start. They start with people getting in your head and telling you you're not good enough, and that you don't have control, that people aren't going to like you or love you because you're too fat or you're too thin or whatever. If you're not thin enough, you're not good enough. I think Kate Moss said, nothing tastes as good as thin feels. Well, that's crap, because I've had some really delicious dinners, and it was totally worth it. But when I was 14, I learned how to throw up. I had a friend who taught me. She was bulemic, and I was like, oh, great, because I could skip breakfast and I could eat very little lunch. But my mother would pile my plate up. It was really strange. She'd want me to diet with her, and then she would pile my plate up bigger than hers, bigger than my brother's. And my brother was fat. He was fat from the time he was a baby until high school. And then he went on a crash diet, and he ate only cereal, and he started working out all the time. And he lost his weight, and he's kept his weight off. He's done really well with it. But once again, he didn't have thyroid issues or the other stuff that I've got. But yeah, he did real well. But you know, my mom pushed that weight thing so much that I thought bulimia was just the greatest thing in the world. I can eat and I can throw up. Let me tell you what happened. I would eat my dinner at night. I'd go to the bathroom, and we lived in a small house. We didn't have a big house then. And I could throw up where nobody could hear me. I got good at it. And then when I was 16 and I was working, after a week of stress and anxiety and restricting my food, I would start out at one end of town, and I would go through the drive-thru, and I would get a value meal, and I would eat it really fast and hard, and then I would go to the next restaurant, and I would go to their bathroom, and I would throw everything up, and then I'd go get back in my car, and I'd go through the drive-thru again. And it became a ritual, and I did that like at least once a week from the time that I got my first paycheck at 16, and I was in my own car. And I did that until, you know, I was married to my first husband, and it was before I had my daughter, thank God, because I would have hated to have, you know, deprived her of any nutrition because of my eating disorder, my problem. But, you know, like, I starved for a month with everybody's approval. They loved the fact that, you know, if you went on a diet and you lost weight, oh, it was great. All your friends would brag on you. And, you know, I starved to get into my junior prom dress. It was gorgeous, beautiful red dress, my scarlet dress. I went to 5 proms. Before each prom, you know, prom season comes up, you start starving. Before I got married, from the time he proposed until and we had a short engagement, thank God, but, you know, he proposed, and I had to wear my mother's wedding dress because that was tradition. You know, I had to wear her dress. Hated that dress. It was too small, and I shouldn't have had to try to get into it, but I had to starve myself to get in that dress, and I did. I still have those pictures. They look pretty good. They look pretty good in that dress, I'm not gonna lie. But then again, who doesn't look good at 18? You know, we're all beautiful at 18. So after that, I got married. I moved to Louisiana. Excuse me, I got a wiener, it wants up. I moved to Louisiana with my husband, and I was working in a doctor's office, and I was still doing it. I was still binging and purging. And one of the ladies in the office noticed me go to the bathroom after lunch, and she stood outside the door and she listened. And when I came out, she said, "Beth, are you throwing up?" And I said, "Yeah, but I'm okay. I'm all right." And she said, "Do you throw up often?" I was like, "Why?" And I'm thinking, it's none of your business. You know, this is my private thing. This is my thing. You know, this is how I deal with my stuff. Don't get in my business. But she pushed me, and she got me to go to Overeaters Anonymous, and I really appreciate her for doing that. I learned a lot there, and then I went to therapy, and therapy helped me a lot. I learned how to love myself, and that my weight, no matter what weight I was still me. I'm still me. And you know, like I gained 83 pounds with my daughter. It took me 3.5 years to lose it. I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's during that time, and once I started on the Synthroid, it came right off. I know, baby. But this is Brian, in case you don't know, and he's one of my wieners. But once I got the weight off after my daughter and I was on the Synthroid, I kept the weight off. I exercised a lot, and I was about a size 7, and I'm 5'10", so that was a good size for me, you know, and I felt good about myself. You know, I went through some ups and downs in relationships, but I kept the weight off until I was in my 30s, and they put me on Seroquel for sleep. And that's an antipsychotic, and I would sleep eat. I would get up in the middle of the night and walk around and go eat in the kitchen. I have made meals and not remembered it because of that medicine. But anyway, that's what killed my pancreas and gave me type 1 diabetes. Well, now because I have other problems, I'm insulin resistant. Okay, you want down? You want down? Here, go get down. Go find your brother. I'm insulin resistant. That means I need more insulin to affect the same changes as normal people do. Normally, you need about 30 units of insulin a day. By the time they got me on a pump and got me leveled out, I was on 3 units an hour, 24/7. And then I would bolus between 25 and 30 units per meal to keep my blood sugar under control. It was really hard for me, and I was in and out of the hospital all the time, and I was watching my diet. But if I didn't eat enough sugar, then I would crash. I crashed a lot. My blood sugar, I've had it read as low as 25 before I passed out. I have passed out in my kitchen. I have passed out in the hallway. You know, blood sugar. So the more insulin you use, the fatter you get. Okay, that's just part of it. If you have insulin resistance, you're going to have a hard time losing weight. Your body is signaled by the small intestine right after the stomach, and I'm not going to get into all the medical terms. That's the part of your small intestine that says, hey, you need to make some insulin. And if you eat sweets, or you know, you eat the wrong foods, you eat a lot of carbs, your body goes, oh, we need to store this. We need to store this, because your body keeps it for the lean times. Well, that's what my body was doing, because I was taking so much insulin to keep it leveled out. Even though I was watching how many carbs I ate, I would have to take like 3 and 4 times the normal amount of carbs to get my blood sugar regulated. So I gained a lot of weight, and I was up to a size 24, 26 pants, and I was wearing a 3X top, 3X dresses. I've never been that fat in my life, and I was fat. But you know what? Through the whole thing, my husband's never quit loving me, because I was still me in here. Okay? He's known me when we first dated. I was heavy. I had been on the Seroquel, and it was before I lost the weight that I gained from it. And I lost 90 pounds in a little less than 2 months. And I did it by eating only soup, which was not healthy, I don't guess. But anyway, I got all that weight off. And we had dated for a good while, and then we took a break, and then I lost all that weight. And then when he saw me again, he was like, Beth, is that you? And I said, mm-hmm. He said, I wouldn't have recognized you. You look fantastic. And then we dated, and we've been together for 10 years since then, so it's been great. And but he loved me when I was fat. He loved me when I was smaller. He's loved me as I've gained this weight, and he's been through the whole thing, and he's never once criticized me. And that's a good man. You know, you've got somebody that'll stand by your side. But when it was getting to where with the rheumatoid arthritis and the fibromyalgia, I couldn't exercise. It was hard enough not being able to control the diabetes, my blood sugar, but I couldn't exercise like I had before. I used to exercise all the time, but it was getting to where I couldn't move, and I was getting sicker and sicker. So we talked to my doctor, and I got approved, and I got gastric sleeve surgery. Now with gastric sleeve, they make a little sleeve out of your stomach, and then they take out the first part of your intestine, and that's the part that signals for the insulin production, or signals your body to start making fat or do whatever. Anyway, I tell you what, my insulin use has gone down. I am using 1.5 units an hour in my pump per day, and I still have to keep my pump. If I take my pump off for 6 hours, I'll go into DKA. But yeah, and I've had that happen. You know, it just go out while I'm asleep, and I'm like, you know, I wake up and I end up on a trip to the hospital. But 1.5 units of insulin, and now I have learned what I can eat and what I can't eat much better through the help of a nutritionist. So I don't eat sugar and I don't eat carbs, as you know, very little, and that's what works for me. Now with different autoimmune diseases, the medicine can make you really gain weight. Prednisone I was on 2 weeks of prednisone, and I don't know if you can tell. Let me get up a little bit closer. But my face and my neck was swelling. I was getting swelling here. You get a puffy kind of face, and even though you feel really good on it, it does make you eat. Makes you hungry. Everything tastes real good. But a lot of the medicines that we take for autoimmune diseases, they'll do that to you. They'll make you gain weight. And they're listed on the side effects. Weight gain is one of them. I don't know of any that make you lose weight. I didn't lose weight on anything. Well, methotrexate I lost weight on because all I did was throw up with it. You know, I had cured my bulimia, and then the methotrexate made me throw up every time I took it. And I'm like, well, this sucks. But I had the weight loss surgery, and I lost a bunch of weight. I've lost, you know, 200 pounds, but it's been really hard, and it is not an easy thing to do. It's not a lazy person's thing to do. I've never been lazy. I wasn't lazy when I was at my biggest, and I'm not lazy now. But I tell you what, I've never been so sick in my life. I had a lot of problems due to autoimmune disorders. I've had to have complete hysterectomy. I've had to have my gallbladder out, and I've been in the hospital with all sorts of different infections. Kidneys were ready to give out. My liver has stayed swollen, and but that's another issue. But it's made me, I throw up all the time. And even when I don't eat, I'll wake up in the middle of the night throwing up. And I sleep sitting up a little bit because I may have GERD. I have not been diagnosed with that. I don't need another diagnosis. But I do take you know, Prevacid and Zantac. I take both of those per day. And I sleep with pillows behind me. So I'm not quite so flat. But even then, I will throw up in my sleep. And during the day, I can smell something and just, it's awful. I've never thrown up like this ever, and I don't want to do it again. And I can't believe I was ever bulimic because this stinks. But I have lost a lot of weight, and with nausea medicine, thank God for Zofran. I live for Zofran. It helps me, and I'm able to keep my food down. And I'm losing now slower, but I'm losing at a healthy rate. I got on a pair of capri pants that I haven't had on since we've started dating the second time, and I'm kind of proud of myself, you know. And every time I put on clothes that, you know, are still nice, but that I had gotten too fat to wear, it makes me feel so good. And when I put on stuff that's too big, it makes me feel really good. And I keep thinking, ooh, I need to go shop. And then I'm like, no, Beth, you need to sell all of these clothes first. You need to get rid of all these clothes before you shop for anything else. Because I have bags and bags of clothes. But I want you to take away from this as you watch it that, you know, our weight is something that we deal with all our lives. You're going to go up and down in weight. It's a very rare person who stays one size as an adult all their life. Usually you'll have ups and downs. But whether you're thin, sorry, Brian's going up again, whether you're thin or whether you're fat, you're still you inside. And you're still worthy of love and respect and consideration. And you got to love yourself. When you're fat, you got to still love that fat person. I had to. And listen, it was hard to look in the mirror when I was at my heaviest. But I was lucky I had a husband who really love me and has always been very supportive. But it's getting easier as I'm losing weight. I'm looking in the mirror a little bit more. I'm like, ooh, I've lost more weight. And you can see, like, even just a few days of being off the prednisone, my face, the swelling is going down and in the neck, and which makes me happy. But I'm hoping we keep good weather so I don't have to go back on it and I don't go back into a flare. So don't be hard on yourself. You know, eat to live, don't live to eat. Find a diet that works for you. If you do the high protein, low carb like I do, and it works for you, great. If not, if you need something else, do something else. But be healthy. Be happy. Be happy with who you are. Because no matter how much fat's around it, your heart's still your heart. Now, I'm going to put a wiener down and I'm going to go upstairs and see if my husband needs anything, because I think the game may be off, and he's probably getting sleepy, and he's got to work tomorrow, and so do I. And we've got a lot going on. But I wanted to say I love you, and you love you, and you take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.